The Lady or the Tiger by Frank Stockton. Once upon a time, there lived a king who had some strange ideas about how to rule his kingdom. One of his plans was to build a stadium for the entertainment of his people. Instead of sporting events, though, he presented criminal trials. People would come to see the guilty punished and the innocent rewarded. When a person was charged with a crime, notice was given to the public that on an appointed day the fate of the accused person would be decided in the stadium. When all the people had gathered in the stands, the king, sitting high up on his throne, gave a signal. A door to the arena opened, and the person on trial stepped out in front of the crowd. Directly in front of the accused were two doors that looked exactly the same. The person on trial was required to open one of the two doors. He could open either door. He was given no direction or no influence, other than that of a fair chance. Behind one of the doors was a fierce tiger. If he opened that door, the tiger would spring upon him and tear him to pieces as punishment for his crime. The fact that he chose that door was a sign of his guilt. Behind the other door was a beautiful lady. If he chose that door, it would be a sign of his innocence, and he would be allowed to marry her then and there. This system of criminal justice was popular among the king's subjects. When the people gathered to see a trial, they would not know whether they would witness a cruel punishment or a happy wedding. This sense of uncertainty became the key source of entertainment. Now, this king had a beautiful daughter whose soul was as passionate and wild as his own. There was also a young man from a poor family who loved the princess. She was very happy with him, for he was handsome and brave to a degree unmatched in the whole kingdom. Soon, however, the king discovered their secret love affair. The youth was immediately thrown into prison. A day was appointed for his trial in the king's arena. The whole kingdom eagerly awaited for the trial, which would determine whether the young man had been wrong to love the princess. The appointed day arrived. From near and far the people gathered and crowded into the great stadium. The stage was set. At a signal from the king, the door opened, and the young man walked into the arena. The crowds began to whisper to one another about how handsome the young man was. No wonder the princess loved him. What a terrible thing for him to find himself in such a situation. Everyone was nervous to see what would happen next. Standing in the arena, he turned to face the princess, who sat next to her father. He quickly realized that the princess knew what was behind each door. Possessed of great power and influence, she had discovered the secret of which the two doors led to a lady. The princess knew who the lady was. She was one of the loveliest ladies of the court, and the princess hated her. Often the princess had seen this fair creature throwing glances of admiration upon her lover, and sometimes she thought that these glances were returned. Now and then the princess had seen them talking together. It was but for a moment or two, but much can be said in a moment. With all the intensity of her passion, she hated the lady who, at that moment, was standing calmly behind one of the two silent doors. For several days, the princess had been unable to either eat or sleep, greatly troubled by conflicting thoughts. She would often cry in horror as she thought of her lover's final moments at the teeth of a tiger after opening the wrong door. She was also troubled, however, by a contrasting image of his happiness as he opened the door of the lady. The princess's soul burned in anger as she imagined them joyfully celebrating their wedding. Torn between jealousy and love, the princess would have to answer the question she read in her lover's quick and anxious glance. Which door? There was not a moment to lose. The question was asked in a flash. It demanded an immediate answer. She raised her right hand and made a small but significant movement toward the right. No one but her lover saw it. He turned confidently and with a firm step walked up to the door. With eyes wide open, the people held their breath. Without hesitation, he went to the door on the right and opened it. Now I leave it to you, dear reader. Which came out of the open door, the lady or the tiger?